And hello, everybody out there who is joining us. My name is Dr. Betty Tonsing, and I am the Vice President. I'm on the board of the Indiana Council of World Affairs and Vice President of the programs. And I'm joined this morning by Amy Stark, who is our Communications Coordinator. And I will be introducing our speaker, Dr. George Lopez. But I want to say that we are approaching our last program for both series, for both distinguished speakers and great decisions. And this is a speaker this evening from Great Decisions for the 2022-2023 program year. And thank you to all of you who have joined us, and the many people who are new, and the many people who are joining us from all over the country. But this is it. This is the last program. So you want to make sure that you sign up to join us. It will be next next Tuesday, May the 9th at 7 o'clock. And our website is icwa.org. You know that you have to register to get the free Zoom link. So we want you to join us. We're ending the year on talking about economic warfare, the power of sanctions. That is the first step that any country that's a civil society that wants to prevent war, and we've been able to prevent a World War III because the alliances we've had since World War II, the power of those alliances wanting the same thing. So they've tried sanctions, maybe that will work. And in some cases it has. It clearly has hurt people living within the country. It's a matter of do the leaders respond? And the leaders are not very often harmed by those sanctions as their subjects are. And our speaker this evening is Dr. George, next Tuesday. I'm so used to doing this in the evening. Our speaker will be Dr. George Lopez. And is the Professor Emeritus of the Peace Studies at the Kroc Institute for International Peace Studies, where he was a founding faculty member in 1986. He is a leading expert on economic sanctions, peace building, and various peace-related issues. So we have an outstanding speaker, and he has just finished a year of service on the United Nations panel of experts for monitoring sanctions on North Korea. So he is going to have the most up-to-date. And we haven't talked about North Korea this year, but that's another problem area. No doubt it'll be probably a discussion of topic next year. And you might be coming back. We might be inviting you to come back to join us, considering your expertise on that, Dr. Lopez. Tell us, what will you be focusing on next Tuesday evening?
Thank you, Betty. I'm delighted to be with you next Tuesday. I want to examine the questions that I usually hear from public audiences and even from policy officials. That is, what are sanctions precisely? Which types of sanctions work and why? Under what conditions do sanctions move from coercive elements of foreign policy to what the Great Decisions book calls economic war? And also, how do we attain the objectives of persuading recalcitrant or norm or international law violating leaders to take the economic pain and translate it to a different political set of decisions? And particularly lately, the question is, how do you do that without severe damage to the poor citizens of a country who aren't responsible for the policies? So that's the range that I'd like to cover.
Okay. And you know, people are going to be asking us specifically about Putin. And I'm not going to ask you now because that's a very long, yes, but will you have a lot to say, I suppose, about Putin?
I certainly will have a lot to say about the sanctions. Before I went on the UN panel, did a lot of writing and consulting about what might be the use of sanctions as a deterrent in November and December in 21. And as soon as sanctions were put on, my group was active in talking about the calibration of those. I think there's a lot that suggests that these have not been successful. I'll tease out how and where and why I think they have been. Okay, good. We'll be very anxious to hear that. It's going to be a very good program. As many of you know, it'll be a 90-minute program, and the first half will be Dr. Lopez, also with a guided, moderated discussion, probably led by Dr. Ray Montano. And then the last half of it, Dr. Lopez, I think you'll find very exciting because it is a robust Q&A by those attending. And that is, I think, what makes us very unique and very special, is that for those of you who attend can engage with our speaker. You're not just coming to hear a lecture, you are going to be engaged in the process. That makes us really stand out and makes all of this really, really great. So next Tuesday,
We're going to be saying goodbye to you all very sadly. It's been a wonderful program year, and I'm glad, Dr. Lopez, we're going to end it with you. I think it's going to be a great program.